Hi, this is Mark again, Museum of Us. This is on the chapter about musical instruments. And just a couple of observations. One is musical instruments are hard to get rid of. And here's what I've noticed in the interviews that I've had with people. One is that as a parent, as we teach children how to play a musical instrument, it's our great hope that they will get to a certain level of proficiency with music, reading music, and playing a musical instrument. And so it represents one of our parental best efforts to try to raise our kid and educate them in a particular skill that is remarkably valuable. I couldn't say enough of the importance of music overall. But what about the artifact of that effort? What do we do with the musical instrument? In some cases, in the interviews that I did, the child would take the instrument with them to college and beyond, but that was not the norm. Often, when the child would go off to college, and if the musical instrument was something they learned in their younger teenage years, it was in the closet, it stayed at the parents' home, and the parents, of course, couldn't get rid of it because that's the trumpet, that's the guitar, that's the piano that my child learned to play music on, and so it stays at the parent home and eventually migrates to the closet or migrates to the garage or migrates to the storage unit. And then what do you do? So that's the first point that I wanted to make was in the chapter was that musical instruments are really hard to get a hold of because of the attachment to our efforts to, it sort of reflects the opportunity or the effort for our child to learn music and our attempt at parenting, period. All I know to do and what I recommend in the chapter is that you go through the resources that I have at the end of the chapter and learn how to properly vet the instrument and then donate it to a school or a church or a musical store. The story that I liked the most was the one where they donated the musical instrument and then the money they got from it, they offered it as a scholarship for other students, not necessarily their family members, to learn to play music as well. Then you're done with the instrument and it moves on. But keeping the instrument will be tough because worst case scenarios, that instrument is in your storage unit. When your child comes to sort through your things and they see their instrument there, they're going to go, oh, I should hold on to that. That was my trombone. And it puts them in an awkward position. So my suggestion from Our Museum of Us stuff is to do what I'm about to do with my guitar and let you and your child curate through storytelling what that instrument meant to the child, what it meant to you, and then do the donation thing that I suggested, period. So I did not grow up learning music. I just didn't. That was something I regretted because I love music so much. But wait, in college, some roommates had guitars, and so long story short is I learned to play guitar. This is not that guitar, but I would just want to speak for a second about my love of guitar and how it showed up in my life in two pretty fun ways. One is I've never been good at the guitar, so I just never have, so it's just been something I've enjoyed. But it got me through a really sticky situation when I was overseas. I joined the Peace Corps, and my job in South Korea was to teach English. Well, no problem. I'm a speaker of English. I get most of my words right. But what was funny was the first month when they were training us about how to teach Korean English teachers, I didn't speak Korean, and so it was really difficult to find the bridge or the way of getting across their roughness in English and my absolute lack of Korean. So, hello guitar. In college, we had, of course, loved a variety of music, but one of them was John Denver. And this is one of the funniest things that ever happened in my life. And so the guitar brought me a very bright moment and brought me a bridge, pun intended, with how to teach English. So when things started slowing down, I happened to take my guitar over to the Peace Corps with me. And I thought, well, what the heck? Why not teach them a song, an English song? So I offered and taught them Country Roads by John Denver. And it turns out that learning a language by singing the songs is really practicable, and it's how we learn Korean I won't sing Korean songs for you right now, but for those poor, I shouldn't say poor, those earnest but struggling Korean teachers of English, learning English by a song worked out really well. So long story short is that I got the words to them and I sat in front of them, and all of a sudden I, who had never taught before, was teaching Korean English teachers how to do English, and I did so with Country Roads. But the why I'm laughing is because what was funny about it, Japanese and Korean languages don't have the L and R's like we do, and we don't have sounds that they do. But I will, to my dying day, remember the emphasis and the pronunciation and the clarity, the quality of when we got to the phrase mountain mama. And that mama is a consonants that are used in Korean as well. So even though they struggled with take me home, country roads, etc., no fault of their own, it's just the language. But when they got to mountain mama, boy, they belted that out, and all of a sudden, I, who had never taught before and was about to teach for 2 more years in a little village in Korea, I was feeling like, hey, I could do this. So the guitar came to my rescue, period. The other story is that I wanted to pass along the value of music to my children. So with the guitar, every night that they could stand it, I would sing songs to my children before they went to bed. And so I would sing a variety of songs. I'm a big John Prine fan, and Woody Guthrie and Hobo Lullaby, etc. But there was one song that my daughter and I break down laughing when I just have to say this one word, and we just die, because in a song, John Prine talks about the coal company has hauled the hills away, and take me back to Paradise Valley and all that. But there's a phrase in it where he says, take me back to Muhlenberg County where paradise lay. In other words, when he was a child growing up, to him that was paradise. And I played that song for years to my daughter and son, but my daughter heard it differently than the word actually is pronounced. And some years later, I was singing and she said, wait a minute, Dad, you just said paradise. I said, yeah, that's what I've been saying for the last 10 years. She said, I thought you were saying parrot eyes. And to this day, all I have to do is say paradise, and we crack up laughing. So again, a fun moment brought to you by the guitar. And that's why, for me, learning to play the guitar, learning to share it as a wannabe teacher, and as a dad, wanting to sing songs to kids at night, funny stories. But I will say this, I did not grow up hearing a lot of musical instruments in the house other than the beautiful music that our sisters had when they played piano. And I have to admit, I was a little bit jealous that they got piano lessons and us boys didn't. But no criticism, it just made me that much more eager to learn to play when I finally got my hands on one. And I felt good about how it has shown up in my life. And both our children, oh my God, they're great singers. They both play musical instruments. And so I feel like, luckily, the musical instrument didn't hit me too late in life, and I was able to pass along my sincere appreciation and respect for what a musical instrument can do. So I encourage you to take as much time as you can to present music and musical instruments to your children. After you do, together, tell the stories like this about what music meant to them, the instrument meant to them, and then together curate it so that it doesn't just stick around gathering dust and you pay a storage unit fee for forever and ever and ever. Do something with the instrument, get it back into circulation, and then other people can have that same enjoyment. So musical instruments are pretty darn special, and so I hope this helps a little bit about what you might do with yours, and keep singing as much as you can. I won't do Mountain Mama for you right now, but you can imagine how much fun I've had with that story. Take care.